Hey friends, happy Thursday morning. It is going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. It is absolutely perfect running weather out here. But you guys know me, rain, snow, sleet or shine, it's always a perfect day to run. I'm so grateful for it. But guys, speaking of running, I wanted to share something that was on my heart this morning, something that I really, really hope blesses you. You know, yesterday I was out here and I was hurrying back. I thought I was going to be late. But it turned out to be God's perfect timing. I love when God does this because as I was getting ready to go into work, I passed by the gas station and I saw my buddy John. I haven't seen John in a long time. And let me tell you what, I was definitely compelled to go over and speak to him. And before I tell you what I said to him, let me give you some backstory, okay? In the summer of 2008, John's son played soccer with my son Luke. And to make a long story short, it was a typical Saturday. The kids were playing soccer and John had been exhibiting some behaviors that were very uncharacteristic of him. Some outbursts, you know, and anyway, he collapsed on the field. He was air vac to Springfield, where he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and not just a tumor. It was I forgot what they called it, but it was one of those that had the tentacles, and it just kind of wrapped itself. So they gave him a diagnosis. I believe it was 3 to 7 years, but here 15 years later, John is still alive. But the point is this, guys. In Genesis 50:20, it's the story of Joseph, and I've talked about it before. But in the end of the chapter, Genesis, his father had just died, and his brothers were afraid that Joseph was going to hold a grudge against them. But he assured them, he said, you know, I'm going to paraphrase, he said, what you intended to harm me, God intended for good, for the saving of many lives. So he was just reminding them, you know, that at the end of the day, God is sovereign over all. It may take a while to see his sovereign plan. You know, Joseph was 17 when he was sold into slavery. He was 30 when he was put under Pharaoh in the position that he was in. So guys, just remember that sometimes it takes a while, but we have that promise and the promise of Romans 8:28 that says God works all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So in 2008, what that started, I prayed. Up until that time, guys, I was just an average runner. You know, I just ran just to clear my head. You know, yeah, I was listening to Christian music. I was going to church, but I was definitely on the fence post. I was one of those Christians that had one foot in the world and one foot in the church, right? But let me tell you what, I prayed. I said, Lord, what can we do for him? You know, he was the sole breadwinner. The family needed money. The Lord put it on my heart to do a marathon, to organize it. We raised a couple, like $4,000. I had never done a marathon, wasn't even on my radar, didn't know for this for sure, didn't know that you weren't supposed to plan a hilly one. Oh my goodness, hardest marathon I've ever done. And guys, I remember just being able to complete this 26.2 miles. I went home and I said, Lord, I'm never going to do that again. Woke up the next day, couldn't hardly walk, and I said it again, Lord, I love you and I thank you, but I never want to do that again. Let me tell you what, what I felt on my heart. He said, yeah, you are. You're going to do lots of them. And I argued with that for a while, but when I finally relented, it led to a running ministry and to so many good things, you know, over 100 marathons, countless ultras. I'm getting ready to do another 100 for the glory of God. You know, it's amazing when you give your life to the Lord, his power, how it can work through you when you trust him. And so all of this started because of John's brain tumor. And so this is what I said. I went over and I said, John, I love you. Oh my gosh, I love you. I'm so glad to see you. I just want to remind you the promise of Romans 8:28. You know, look at all the Lord has done through your diagnosis. And he and I looked at each other and I said, I love you. He said, I love you too. And we hugged. And I got to tell you what, I definitely shed some tears as I ran off, but sorry. My point is this, guys, I don't know what you're going through, but I want to tell you this 15 years from 2008 until now has not been all roses and sunshine. There's been a lot of trials. There's been a lot. But the point is, guys, see, we have to stay faithful. Stay faithful. Keep your eyes on God. And at the end of the day, you're going to be able to look back and see how he worked in your life for good. He works all things for good. So, guys, I hope that really blesses you. I'm going to finish up this run and get off to the best job ever. It is going to be a great day.